Now, in other news, a mentally ill woman was offered little help in the days before she killed her 6-week-old daughter, a court's been told. Police were called to the surgery in Milton near Cambridge last June after Faith Lovemore was transferred to Addenbrooke's Hospital. She was pronounced dead on arrival. 41-year-old Julia Lovemore admits manslaughter on the grounds of diminished responsibility and is due to be sentenced in May. An inquiry has been set up into her death.
An Essex man has been found guilty of common assault after an incident in Brentwood last September that sparked accusations of police brutality. 29-year-old Alan Lethbridge from Romford was ejected from a pub in Brentwood, and during his arrest, officers used CS spray.
Well, that resulted in an ongoing investigation by the police watchdog, but today he was found guilty of an assault on the paramedic who treated him. A warning, you may find some of the images in Martin Stew's next report disturbing.
Bloodied, dazed and restrained, Alan Lethbridge had been ejected from O'Neill's pub after celebrating winning £4,000 on the pools. These pictures were captured by a cameraman who'd been sent to cover a fire at the nearby Sugar Hut club. With the wound on his head bleeding freely and complaining of breathing difficulties, police called Richard de Vries, a paramedic with 10 years' experience, to help. Today, he told Basildon Magistrates Court he'd been assaulted. Mr de Vries said he tried unsuccessfully to calm Lethbridge down for 5 minutes, but Lethbridge became more agitated, swearing at him before purposefully and directly spitting in his face. Lethbridge denied the claim, saying he was disorientated, having been cuffed, CS sprayed and being covered in blood. He admitted he may have spat to clear his throat, but didn't target anybody and didn't act in malice. Magistrates ruled there was enough evidence on CCTV showing Lethbridge tilting his body forwards to show that he'd spat in the face of Mr de Vries, and they found him guilty of common assault. Lethbridge shouted his innocence from the dock, but was sentenced to 100 hours community service and ordered to pay £250 costs.
I actually feel really angry, like, with the justice system, really. I feel like it's corrupt. The police have got off with spraying with CS gas at point-blank range, which is illegal. And I've been found guilty of spitting on a paramedic right after I've been CS gassed and smashed to the floor, which is pathetic, really. He's launched an appeal which is expected to start next month. In the meantime, one officer remains on light duties while the Independent Police Complaints Commission investigate the arrest and the use of CS spray. Martin Stew, Anglia News, Basildon.
Well, it's nearly 12 minutes past 6. You're watching Anglia Tonight.
Now, coming up, Amanda has the weekend weather forecast, and it looks like it's going to be a good one, doesn't it? Which is nice.
News.
Plus, loads more besides.
Will the Saints go marching on? We preview Northampton's chances ahead of their European quarter-final.
An old book with a new story to tell. The author's handwritten message to the little girl who inspired a classic.
And there has been some glorious weather across the region, especially down here in Cromer, where some people were brave enough to step into that cold sea. Still a little bit too cold for me, I think. But I'm sure you're all wondering, what's the weather looking like for the weekend? I'll be back later with the details.
Seafront patrols have begun checking on bathers along the seafronts in Clacton, Harwich, Brinton, Brightlingsea and Walton.
Last year, the team had their busiest summer ever. And if today's weather is anything to go by, they're bracing themselves for another busy season. Lorna Ramsey reports.
One, two, three.
When you're this age, there's no better treat than a trip to the beach. And at Clacton today, there were plenty of people soaking up the sun. But while everyone else is enjoying themselves, this lot are here to work. They're the beach patrol team, and their job is to make sure everyone gets home safely.
The danger, obviously, people need to respect the tides a little bit. They do come down with their inflatables. We've got no control over that. And some people don't realise when the tide's going out, so we'll be keeping out. The seafront staff will be making sure that everybody's safe on the water.
And they'll be doing that by keeping a watchful eye from up here. But the teams don't just monitor the shoreline. They come out on this boat 2 or 3 times a day to check if anybody's got into trouble on the water. Some common problems include people climbing on the rocks and inflatables drifting out to sea. The team started this week and they'll continue until September. And they're bracing themselves for another busy season. Last year was the busiest on record, with more than 1,200 incidents. But one incident the team here will never forget is the search for 10-year-old Stella Akanbi from Milton Keynes. She died while playing in the sea in Clacton in August.
That's something we certainly won't be forgetting this season, and obviously will bring back memories for myself and the rest of the team, and obviously everybody else that was involved for the search last year.
So the message is clear. Enjoy everything our coast has to offer, but be aware of its dangers too. Lorna Ramsey, Anglia News, Clacton.
A Norfolk pub landlord has appeared at Norwich Crown Court accused of murdering his partner. The body of Becky Thorpe, who was 29, was found in a freezer at the Compasses Inn in nearby Snettisham last month. She'd been shot in the head. Becky Thorpe ran the pub with 49-year-old Mike Tucker, who's charged with her murder. He'll next appear in court for a plea and directions hearing on June the 30th.
The East of England Ambulance Service received nearly 9,000 emergency calls over the Easter bank holiday weekend. Paramedics were called to incidents ranging from sudden illness and traffic collisions to assaults and diabetic problems. Chelmsford was the busiest operations centre with over 2,700 calls, more than double the number in Suffolk.
Now, regulars at a pub in Norfolk are holding a meeting this evening to see if they can raise enough money to buy it and, of course, keep it open. The landlord of the White Horse at Upton near Acle has decided to retire. He's put the pub up for sale now, while locals fear the building could be turned into houses. So they've started a fundraising campaign to buy it, and they want to keep it as a pub.
Let's have some sport now. We're entering the sharp end of the Football League campaign.
We are indeed. So we should have a better idea of where our teams will be playing next season. That's after the next round of games this weekend. Donovan Blake has our Friday preview.
A special game in every sense for Ipswich manager Roy Keane. His greatest triumphs as a player may have been with Manchester United, but Nottingham Forest is where his career took off under one of football's greats, the late Brian Clough.
A brilliant manager. Talk about the top managers. No, this man was a genius. He was good to me, he was good to my family. Never lied to me. Treated me with respect. Gave me time off when I was homesick, and didn't give me too much money early on. That might have, I don't know. He was clever like that. He's a clever man.
This will be Keane's first return to the City Ground as a manager for a league game. Victory would virtually secure Ipswich's championship status and end Nottingham Forest's hopes of automatic promotion. A first league game in charge too for Peterborough's new boss Gary Johnson after replacing Jim Gannon this week. Posh, already relegated, entertained Leicester. Grant Holt became the first striker to score 30 goals in a season for Norwich since this man 46 years ago, Ron Davis.
Bryceman with a nice Victor Davis with a chance, and he's...
As City prepare to face the MK Dons in League One, manager Paul Lambert hopes there are more goals to come from Holt before the season's end.
No matter what league it's in, whether people want to say it's in League One, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. You've scored 30 goals, which is the first since 46 years, they're telling me, which is extraordinary. Hopefully there's a few more to come from him. It's been absolutely colossal.
Norwich's return to the Championship could be aided this weekend by their regional rivals Southend and Colchester, who desperately need points themselves. The Referees Association has apologised to Colchester for the contentious goal scored by Wycombe, which denied them victory last month. Tomorrow the U's host second-place Swindon. And Southend's players are still receiving their wages late as they battle to stay up, but a win at Leeds would keep them in touch with their nearest relegation-threatened rivals. Donovan Blake, Anglia News.
Well, from that to cricket, and the county championship season got underway today. Essex are playing Hampshire at Chelmsford. The visitors won the toss. They put Essex into bat. Billy Godleman making his debut, got the season off to a good start. He hit 92. James Foster, well, he got 88, and that included a 50. He scored it off just 62 balls. Well, at the close of play, Essex reached 323 for 7.